Devlin does an excellent job bringing this Danziger case to this point, the point at which Kaplan makes an order enjoining enforcement of the judgment. It's based on his finding, the finding that Danziger bribed Judge Zambrano. And that is itself based on a single witness, Guerra, whose testimony was the only evidence, effectively, of the bribery of Zambrano. Now, I want to pause at this point because so much flows from this finding by a sitting federal judge in an equity court without a jury, with no criminal prosecution at any point in the background, making a finding of very serious criminality by a lawyer who's representing plaintiffs in a lawsuit. Now, I want to explore with you Judge Kaplan's thinking in how that finding is structured and then how it's treated subsequently by the courts of appeal, the Supreme Court, the disciplinary committee of the bar in the state of New York, the courts of New York. So here's Kaplan's situation. He is convinced that Danziger didn't deserve to beat Chevron in that litigation in Ecuador. He feels that he has enough evidence, proof of wrongdoing in the way Danziger litigated the preliminaries of the case to justify an injunction that he's prepared to issue. An order saying, no, you may not enforce here in the United States where Chevron has assets. He also has the testimony of this one witness that Danziger went well beyond these preliminaries and bribed the judge. But he recognizes it's based on just this one witness who's not very credible. So, shall I make this a finding that supports my judgment And if that finding gets reversed, my judgment is wiped out on appeal. And so what he does is he says, I make the preliminary findings, and I base my judgment on those. And then independent of those findings, I make this finding, that Danziger bribed Zambrano. Why? Because if it turns out that that finding doesn't stand up, if its vulnerability exposes its weakness, then the judgment will still stand on these preliminaries. So that way I get both results. The finding that Danziger bribed Zambrano and its insulation on appeal. Understand, the judgment involves the equitable order, not the finding. The finding itself is not appealable. And if the judgment is not reversible because the finding is independent of these others that supports it, no reason to fear reversal on appeal. Something wrong there? What is it? What's wrong with that?